Hello. I was born Edward William Wunsch, but my family nickname was Bud, and that's pretty much what I try and use. My license, signed by the founder, is Edward Bud Wunsch, and my original mentor was Dennis Dulard, and what you mentioned. I have about 500 tapes from Mona class, and I've been recording the ones from Dennis Dulard. I'm going to get into a little more than you might want to cut this out, Will, because it's sort of irrelevant. But anyway, I came out to visit one of my other Army friends, and his name was Richard Allen Thomas, and he was Dennis Doulard's brother, half brother, whatever. Anyway, I came out visiting him, and while I was here, I wanted to go into LA and look in the phone book for, let's see, that was 1963. I can't even remember. I must have had contact with Dennis before that, between 68 and 73, I had some kind of connect. Oh yeah, here's what it was. I had broken up with my second wife, and I was trying to get a hold of Dennis because he had helped me with something or other. Anyway, I want to call and see if I can find Dennis Dulard, because he had helped me when I was out earlier in 68. And I found him in the phone book. Wow, called him up. Lady answers, "Oh, I'm Richard's wife. We're not together anymore, but he does have a bar on what the heck's the major street in starts with a C. It's in the heart of the Negro section. What's the main drag through there?
Crenshaw.
Crenshaw. That's it. Yeah. Him and somebody else had a bar on Crenshaw. So I go, well, we'll go over there and see if he's around. And we drove over, and we walk in, and I say to the bartender, "Hi, I'm an old Army friend of Richard Allen Thomas." And he goes, "Oh, too bad, Richard isn't here, he's in Las Vegas." So I say to my friend, "Well, let's shoot a game of pool and have a beer." And we did, and before we left, in comes Richard. And I go, "Wow, man, I didn't think I would get to see you." And he goes, yeah, and just, anyway, I reunited a friendship with him, and I started seeing him when I would come out to LA from Chicago, and built up and renewed our friendship. And we started, we were just in we were in contact. And when I broke up with my second wife, I was going through all kinds of problems. And I was trying to get some counseling. So I called Richard's number, and his mother answers. Actually, his grandmother of all things. And she says, oh yeah. Anyway, he owns a bar there, and we drive over there, and he isn't there, but he was supposed to be in Las Vegas, and he had come back. Anyway, reunited with him, and through him, I established, that's what it was, Richard's grandmother. I think I may have said it this way to her, but anyway, everything touch I turns to shit, and I'm just having all kinds of problems. This is how it was. And she goes, you know, maybe you ought to talk to my other son, Dennis. And that's how I got united with Dennis. And he talked to me on Memorial Day of 1968. And he talked to me for 8 hours. And he goes, now, if you go to these classes, your life will straighten out. And I'm desperate. I need to do something. I can't keep going on like I was. So he says, go to 1040 South Grand. And on Sunday, and I went the following Sunday, and Dennis was one of the speakers, and all he said was, I'm going out to some of the other classes. There wasn't that many. I think there was total classes, I think, was 7, and that counted Ohio. So anyway, I go to that, and Dennis is one of the speakers, and he says, now, I'm being sent out to the other branches, and the founder wants me to have a face-to-face message delivered. And he says, but as you know, the 6th of June is approaching. And he says, I do hope to see you all again. And after that, I hadn't thought about it until that was the bad part of everything. My second wife decided she wasn't gonna be my wife anymore, and I just thought, oh shit, everything I touch is going bad. But anyway, I went to the class, and he had mentioned that 6th of June is approaching, which it is now too. And all of a sudden things started to get better. And I came through it, and Dennis had said, go to class at 1040 and your life will straighten out. And it did. And I thought, wow, this guy talks to me for 8 hours, and he's telling me about Moses and all this and that, and I'm sitting there thinking, I got problems, and he's talking to me about Moses. I need some answers on how to take care of all of my problems. So, and I did keep going to class, and everything went back with my second wife, and found an apartment in the LA, what do we call it, the LA camp. The founder lived on 21st Street, a quarter of a block west of 4th Street. And I got a place on the 3rd Street, walking distance. And like you said, my life straightened out. And I've been going ever since. And I think that's 57 years. But I was very, very grateful for that. And I'm still grateful for all that I've learned about our Creator, Yahweh Elohim. And I just feel like it was I'm going to call it, I have a name, a title for it. Can't think of the word. There's a key word that means things are happening that are so far beyond the realm of coincidence that you know it has to be intervention, religious intervention on the part of the Creator. And I've been coming ever since. Just love it. Been grateful for it. And tried to be a teacher, and I just I think it was either the latter part of 68 or the first part of 69. And I go, well, I'm just going to get up. If they ever call on me, I'm going to get up and try to teach. And I got up and I tried to teach, and it got so bad. I'd never seen this happen before, and I might have seen it since then. But anyway, Dr. Harris says, time! They didn't have a bell. Now we have a bell. But I look at that as, once again, something, religious intervention, something like that. There's another word for it. Anyway, I've been very, very happy going to class. I've been to a lot of the different schools. I got there, and one of the speakers was, who's the Canadian dean? Well, who's the dean of Canada?
At that time, what was his name?
In Ontario, Canada.
Oh, the little French guy.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, his name slips my mind for the moment. It'll come back.
Yeah. Anyway, it was, he had just been made dean of Ontario, Canada, and he had been the state superintendent. And they made me the state superintendent, and they made me an MC. And I only had one class from a college close by Fort Gordon, Georgia, and the class was fundamentals of speech. And I noticed immediately what I had been doing and what a lot of people do read. And that was when you read, you can't just read it like, and now there will be a time of, you have to put some life into your speech. You have to change the volume and change the tone. And I did that, and I guess I was there at the right time. I'll just say like I'm saying it to an audience. I've found things in IDMR that I look at them and they have to be, it has to be, what's that word? Not intermittent. It's intermittent. The word is, it's a religious word. And it means something that was caused by Yahweh and His purpose, pattern, and plan.
Dispensation?
What's that?
Dispensation?
Yeah, something like that. But my personal understanding, and a lot of people say, "Oh, bullshit, you can't do that." But anyway, I'm convinced that when Yahweh made the creation, He made everything, and we think we're doing things as they are happening they're just happening, and they're not. I am convinced that Yahweh made us a part of a movie, and we're the actors in the movie, and everything that's happening is in fact Yahweh's purpose. The way He wrote the text for the words for the what's happening. There's a word for it. It's something like, it means religious. Yeah, religious intervention, I'll call it. That's what it is. And we're living through that. And eventually we're going to find out what His plan is or was. And I'm going to be very, very grateful that the things I have learned I came in 68, I think it's 57 years, but been regular attendance whenever possible. And very, very grateful, just very grateful. Will is a strong teacher. He's a much stronger teacher than I am. He has that gift of presentation, and it's the way to go. I don't know if I want to be someone that is able to do that. I probably do, but anyway, I know it's going to happen the way it's supposed to happen. There we are. Somebody's here to talk to you, my lord. Did you meet?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Very good. What did you find?
How did you become moderator at 1040? How did that come about?
That's when the current dean of Ontario, Canada, was leaving to go to Canada, and he was also one of the MCs. And I put into practice what I had learned at this college class called Fundamentals of Speech. And I started focusing on that because some of the MCs at 1040 South, for those who are not aware, at the time in 68 when I started going to 1040 South Grand, and that was the class that that's the class that the founder attended on a regular basis. He lived about 10 miles away, and it was just it was a good thing to go to, and I appreciate it, and I still do. Fortunately, I'm not next door like I had been when I lived at approximately between Western and I want to say you lived at Western and what's the street again?
Crenshaw.
Crenshaw, yeah.
Oh, I remember the guy from Canada. You're talking about Billy Carroll.
That's him. Yeah.
Billy Carroll.
Yeah.
It just came back to my remembrance.
Yeah. Yeah, and when he moved to Canada, he had two students from LA, and they were very strong students. They may not have. They don't have the presentation that you have. You're blessed with that. they're more like me. They would get up and you read something out of the book, and it's not something that people can listen to for 45 minutes or an hour and a half.
Well,
So
well, you were there for Dr. Kinley's presentations. I mean,
I was there, yeah, and I keep wanting to spend this to share this, but I don't want it to sound like bragging. But I was fortunate enough. I lived a block away from the founder, and I think it was on Tuesday. I think it was Tuesday and Thursday, but I don't remember. And you might remember when you could go to the founder's apartment, and there'd be 15 to 25 people there just talking about the gospel. And you might want to, oh, there's Maria. Hello, Maria.
He's recording you there.
just go ahead.
Okay, you know who it is?
Yes, it will.
Okay.
Good to see you, sweetheart.
Hi.
I'm so happy that you're here.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm trying to present some information that somebody might be able to listen to that is not a member. And I guess if Yahweh decides he's going to make me a strong, dynamic teacher like you are,
Oh.
well, you are. And I live with what I have, and I'm grateful for it.
Tell us, I know you got some of those fish stories that Dr. Kinley, that you had with Dr. Kinley. Do you recall any of those you like to relay?
Yeah, there was, most of the people, almost all of them were from what they called the IDMR Los Angeles camp. The founder lived at 3rd Avenue and 21st Street. I lived the founder lived at 4th Street and 21st Street. And I was living on 3rd Street and 21st. Now I can't remember. I think it's 24th Street. Anyway, we go together. The founder didn't have any hobbies that you can think of. He really can't think of anything that he said he really liked to do other than teach the gospel. And that was to go deep sea fishing. And that's what we did. And he'd come back. If you went out on we called it a 3/4 day trip. We would usually leave somewhere around 10 o'clock. And I believe the port was in Ontario, the port. Yeah. That's where there was a couple of fishing boats that went out of there. But we went there. We'd leave around 10. The boat would leave at midnight, and it would come back the following evening at 6 o'clock. And we'd go out for maybe 2-3 hours out into the ocean. And there was an island, the island was still there. But a lot of times we would go to a certain island way out there. And if you didn't catch fish, they just gave you a free pass, because you're going to catch fish on those boats. It's not like you're going sport fishing. You're a meat collector. You're getting fish to feed the folks. And we did. We'd come back to the camp, and we always had the fish cleaned while we were on the boat. And we'd come back and we'd have, I'd keep a few pieces from it. Oh, I did this time and time again. I didn't want any of the fish. I'd catch maybe 8 or 10 big, not carp, cod. Cod. Delicious. I found out after a year or so of doing it. I kept one fish and I put it in an aluminum can, put some butter on it, and threw it in the barbecue. And I couldn't believe how good it was. You get a chance to buy a fish that was caught that day and eat it that night, you won't believe how much different it is. And it really is. So after that, I started keeping some fish, throwing them in the freezer. But before that, I just went to be going along, and it wasn't sport fishing. We had 500-foot fishing lines. You want to ask me?
No,
Okay.
no.
Anyway,
Oh.
it was good. I took them all by myself one. All by myself. I'm very proud to say I took the founder of IBMR fishing. You have to understand, this was the man who received a divine vision and revelation. And he would say from time to time, if you take me and crucify me, you're not going to have a savior. And quite frankly, that's what it seems like. That's the way they're teaching it now. They're teaching the people that have been taught to understand. I went to the funeral for Aaron Bryant, and they had different pictures of Aaron Bryant, Dr. Robert Harris, MD, and the founder. And it's like that's who they're worshiping. And it's not right. It really isn't, folks. You think you're doing things the right way by worshiping the people that Yahweh has taught with the presentation and the ability to make a dynamic presentation like Will can. You get a chance to see Will preach, and you go pretty much all over the country, don't you, Will?
Well, I try to make it to a few places Yahweh permit.
I think you've been to what, Hamaka or what? Jericho? No. What's the one? What's the off of this continent? Jericho? What?
To a place, you mean?
Yeah. We have a class there.
Jamaica.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was there in February this year.
Yeah.
And there are classes there.
Yeah. And I don't know, there's probably some place where we don't have a class, but there's a lot of classes around the country.
Yeah, well, with Zoom, that's been more
Right.
connected with a lot of people around the world, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, yeah. And that's good. Yeah. Quite frankly, I don't know what else to say other than Yahweh. You said you were offering up your son as a sacrifice for everybody's soul, what am I trying to say?
Salvation.
Yeah, salvation for all the mistakes they made.
Mm-hmm.
And some, I've done a bunch of bad stuff too. When I was a teenager, I think I went joyriding in at least 10, 15 cars, and we'd take them and go for a ride, and leave them. If there was anything valuable in the car, we'd take it.
Yeah.
It's not a very good teenage life.
Well, fortunately, Yahweh caught you in time. Do you remember any of the conventions that you attended? Anything
I remember.
special or particularly outstanding that you?
Oh yeah, here's everybody that's listening to this. If you are not having a song connected to your class, I'm going to give you an example. I was at MC. I started in '69, and for the '71 convention in capital of the country,
Washington D.C.
Washington D.C. Yeah, for that convention, I was the very first MC to start the convention, and the founder sat in the second row from the front, and he got a copy of the procedure for the class, and he looks and he goes, "Well, where's the song? We don't have classes without a song. Come on." And everybody go, "Oh my God, what do we do now?" And they came up with, "Well, we'll just call on Pamela Snellbaker and have her lead us in song." They didn't have any choirs set up for anything. And I thought that was kind of beautiful that she was recognized. She has a crystal clear voice, and she's just a great singer, and someone that the founder thought was quite good to have the song that we need to have. And when I go to classes now that don't have a song, some of them started having a song. I think Ontario, we don't always have a song, but we do it more often than not. But, anyway, I stumble around. I've seen so many things that I look at it and say, well, it's Yahweh doing something. We're supposed to understand something by the way it's happening. It's because it's so far from so far from it happening as something that was just a coincidence. No, it's not a coincidence. It seems like it. It seems like it. I use the bullet that went through Trump's ear. How are you going to get a bullet that close to the brain and not kill the guy? And just the fact that they even allowed him, they knew he was up there. They had seen him climb up on the roof, and they didn't get up in time to stop him from that shot. So Yahweh does things that I have seen, and I am convinced that the only reason they're happening is because of divine intervention. And I look at it and I say, Yahweh, thank you. I know this is something you are doing. And it's not always good. It's not always good information. It's not always good behavior. Adolf Hitler wanted to have, and he was sincere in this, he wanted to have a perfect race. And no, you're not going to do that. But anyway, he had millions of people that followed that. They started to try and do that. You had so many things. You had to be the correct color, and you couldn't be gay, and just all kinds of things. And I look at it and say, yep, that's divine intervention. And as you know, I'm sure there was 1 million people from the Second World War on both sides that there was at least 1 million people that died in that.
Do you remember any particular prophecies Dr. Kennedy made when you were at 1040 that you saw come to pass?
Yeah, now you got to make me remember. That's my brain sitting behind you over there. Her name is Judith Wunsch. I couldn't live without her, and I really couldn't. She remembers stuff. You saw my example today. I look at something that I've known you for 57 years. You think I would come up with your name? No. Anyway. I'm not 100%. Once in a while, Yahweh may choose me to do something that I can share with you. I'll try and think of something. Something that happened at 1040. Huh?
I remember there was this one fish story you told me. I think it was something with a multiplicity. It was more than what you thought it was after you had went fishing with Dr. Kinley. Or something like that. I don't know if you can recall it.
Well, on the one time when I took him fishing, deep sea fishing, at 3/4 of a day, I didn't want to bore him. I didn't want to make him. My mentor was a man named Dennis Drulard, and he had the gift of teaching. I don't have that gift. I do not have it, and I tried when I took him fishing. To not bother him or bore him with things. But Yahweh chose Dr. Henry C. Kinley to share his message, and that was that this teaching is probably the only teaching that's valid. It's all truth. And I'm grateful. I have seen a multitude of things, and if it wasn't for Judy, I wouldn't remember probably 1/10 of what I've experienced. Important things, but I hear it. When I go through it, I say, well, this is divine intervention. And I really don't know what else to say besides that.
Okay. How about you just giving a general exhortation to whoever is listening about this teaching, what they should do? Should they encourage to investigate it, or so forth, so on?
Yeah. You can start out, but I've gotten to the point now where you piss people off if you try to just start preaching to them. Doesn't work. If somebody asks me a question, I will attempt to explain it to the knowledge that I have, and I try to do it in a way that it's something they can listen to without falling asleep or leaving. And that's about it. I know Yahweh is running the whole show, and I know if he chose me to be a teacher like Will, like Dennis Drulard, and this is also kind of a disappointment. But I went to the ceremony, the funeral for Aaron Bryant. He had been just made the international dean, and he passed away. And I look at it and say, Yahweh is running the show, and when I go through trauma, I've been doing this for 40, 50 years, and it works. I say, Yahweh, you're running the show. I'm moving to something better, and that's what it is. It's Yahweh running the whole show. When you go through what you think is impossible, terribly, terribly painful, when it gets done, it doesn't have that super painful part, and it's part of, I guess you can say, contrast. When it gets cleared up, you can say, well, it could have been that way and stayed that way, or it could be like it is now, and it's back to being a normal life as far as I'm concerned, other than the fact that I have been taught and I understand that Yahweh had chosen Dr. Henry C. Kinley and certain other people to present in a very acceptable way that teaching. And it's a beautiful thing, it really is.
Okay.